All right, everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be talking about drones,
Okay.
but not just for those like really cool sweeping shots that we see all over the place.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about construction
Okay.
and accuracy in construction and how drones are being used to kind of change the game when it comes to accuracy. So we're going to be talking about how even like small errors
Yeah.
can lead to really big problems.
Hmm.
And how drones are being used to sort of overcome that, and how they're being used in earthworks and substructures and utility mapping
Yes.
and all this really cool stuff. This deep dive is brought to you by the experts at Aerial Decisions, who are really at the forefront of all of this.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, it's all about the data these days. And, we've got high-resolution cameras, LiDAR, and even thermal imaging now.
Mm.
That all helps us to get a really complete picture of what's going on.
So it's not just those really cool shots.
No.
It's really using that data to save money in the long run, by catching those errors early.
Yeah, and, it's not just money, it's safety, too.
Right.
And, all those complex regulations that we have to meet these days.
Hmm.
So let's break it down and maybe start with earthworks as like most obvious application.
Yeah, because traditionally it was all about people on the ground, right?
Yeah.
With like the measuring tapes, trying to map out a site, which can be slow, expensive,
Yeah,
and, with humans, there's always room for error,
of course.
especially in places that are hard to reach.
Yeah, that's where the drones and the LiDAR come in.
Oh,
Basically, LiDAR uses lasers to measure distances and create these really, really detailed 3D models.
okay.
Like it's down to the centimeter.
Wow.
So you can get a really clear picture of how much you need to cut and fill.
So it's kind of like X-ray vision for the ground.
Kinda, yeah.
So do you have like a good example of how this actually works on a project?
Yeah, so there was this massive grading project
Okay.
for a new industrial park. And, the old school surveying was going to take weeks. So they got a drone with LiDAR, did it in a couple of days.
Wow.
And get this, they actually found an area where the soil was way softer than they thought.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, big problem.
Yeah.
But they caught it in time,
So disaster averted?
Exactly. They adjusted their plans and probably saved like 200 grand.
Wow,
Yeah.
so much money.
Yeah, it's all about having that info early.
Right. And like, who knows how many projects in the past have gone over budget because they didn't have this technology. So drones are great for earthworks?
But what about substructure analysis? How can they help us see what's going on under the surface?
We'll think about it. Foundations are everything, right? If you're building on unstable ground or there are like hidden voids, that can lead to big problems later on.
Right.
And the old ways of doing things like boreholes and test pits, they don't always give you the full picture.
So LiDAR is the hero again?
LiDAR is the hero again, yeah.
Yeah.
It gives us this comprehensive view of what's going on beneath the surface.
Okay.
Like it can even create 3D models of underground utility.
Right. Which is super important. You don't want to hit a gas line.
No, definitely not.
And that happens more often than you think.
Yeah, I bet.
And it can be a really big problem.
Yeah, for sure.
And LiDAR can also help us to find weak spots in the soil.
Okay.
So, for example, there was this high-rise development. And they used LiDAR and found this void under where they were going to build the foundation.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big yikes, but they caught it.
Yeah.
And they were able to adjust the design and avoid a potential disaster.
That's incredible. So, okay, speaking of surprises, let's talk about utilities.
Mm-hmm.
We've got this whole network of pipes and wires under our feet. And hitting one of those during construction is never a good time.
No, not just a headache. It can be really dangerous.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
costly. And it happens because the old utility maps aren't always accurate.
So what's the solution?
Drones with thermal imaging.
Okay, so how does that work?
Thermal cameras detect heat. So if there's a leak in a hot water pipe
Right.
or an electrical fault, the camera will see it even if it's buried.
Oh, wow. So it's like seeing hot spots?
Yeah, basically.
That's so cool.
It's not just about finding problems, though.
Okay.
Drones can also create these super detailed 3D maps of the whole utility network.
So you can plan ahead and coordinate everything.
Exactly, especially in cities where it's really dense.
Right.
So it's about avoiding accidents and making things more efficient.
So many benefits. I imagine that all this data can be overwhelming, though. How do project managers actually use it all?
Well, that's the great thing about drones. They collect data so quickly. We're talking hours instead of days or weeks.
Yeah.
And then all that data is processed and turned into 3D models and maps and reports
Okay.
that anyone can understand and use.
So everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. So project managers can make decisions quickly and efficiently.
So it's about making the technology work for you.
Exactly.
not the other way around.
It's about empowering the people on the ground to do their jobs better.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so to wrap up, we've gone from thinking about drones as just really cool cameras to seeing them as these data-gathering machines that are making construction so much more accurate. We've talked about how they're helping us to create precise earthworks plans, analyze what's going on below the surface, and navigate that whole underground network of utilities. And it's saving time, money, and reducing risk, which is huge.
It's a game changer.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really is. And it makes you think, like, what's next? What else can drones do?
Right, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, and we're just getting started. If you're interested in learning more about how drones can be used in construction, I definitely recommend checking out Aerial Decisions. They're the experts in all of this.
We'd love to chat.
All right, that's it for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
CIA.